Good morning. Good morning. Good day to you. Lila waste. Apechu waste. It is a good day. Apechu luta is a red day, a day in spirit. And we all know spirit's involved in everything, like right now. And you know, I was told by Sister Germaine, who liked to come here, my older sister, Germaine Sitting Crow, when she would come live with me, she would come here. And she said, she liked to come here because y'all are like a bunch of Indians. And I said, tell me what you mean, sister. None of them are hardly driving trucks at all. She said, what you mean? She said, they don't try to change nobody. They just come to pray. And that was a way of her imparting some wisdom to me, something really obvious. They don't try to change anybody. They just come to pray. So part of me being here all the time is because Sister, when she would come to live with me from South Dakota, really liked to come here. So see, they all make a circle. Circle's really important to her. The moon is a circle, and the sun is a circle, and a bird makes its nest in a circle. When we do Sundance and Pierce, we're in a circle, praying. So you all make a circle. So she really liked that. And somebody pointed out to me watching some of the videos doing here that Sister would always say when people come together to pray like this, that somehow the connection with Spirit is different. And she said, you ever notice that? And I said, yeah, it takes me about 40 years, but I got it. So the other part is she wouldn't ever teach me anything until I was over 50. She said I was just too stupid. And it wasn't so much as a judgment, you understand? It was a statement, like for the Navajo people, until a man or a woman is 50, they're still children. They just haven't quite got it yet. And that's not a put down to anybody that's not 50. It's just different on this side. It's different. When there's less left than there has been spent, things shift a little. Thank goodness that I'm not as dumb as I used to be. But she would say that she'd like to come here, and she asked me the first time, who got this circle going? And so I pointed to Rudy and Zet over there. And she looks at him a long time, and I heard somebody say Grandma was 4'10". Sister was about 4'8". But, yeah, right about there. Anyway, she looked at me, she said, they're good people, brother. You helped them. And so she could do that. An oldest sister had the responsibility to teach, if she chose to teach the younger brother what she knew, and the right to correct. And she took those as overlapping. Frequently, her corrections were teachings, matter of fact, all the time. And I don't know if you know, in the First Nations way, this medicine that I come to bring with you all, it's not just from First Nations. It's many of the old medicine women, and Sister, she was a holy woman, would say that the First Nations have something to share with everybody else. And that's part of the deal, for us to share what we have. So she would tell me to share the medicine and help the people and stay on the clock. So being here is staying on the clock. And somebody watched some of the videos, and they pointed out to me that I always honor Sister coming here. And she was watching the video, and she said, something else. So, okay, tell me. She says, what else is, you like it too. Duh, yes. So today I say, for the first time I've ever come here, I really like to come here. So it's good to be in this circle, to stay on the clock the way Sister said, to share the medicine, to be in a group where we don't try to change each other. It's really beautiful. And you notice Sister said First Nations. She didn't say our racial group. In her world, there's only one race, us two-leggeds. There's the four-leggeds, and that's another nation. And the standing people, the trees and the bushes and the vegetables, that's another nation. And another nation is like the mineral people. Sometimes when I was really stupid, she'd go, stone, iya, stone. Pay attention. So it's good to be here and to share that with you all. So part of what I'm going to talk about today is this thing of connection with spirit. Most of you all know that my work, if you could call it work, is hanging around with people in a clinic that we built about 10 years ago, Dr. Shane and I. It's a holistic medical clinic. We work with body, mind, and spirit. And we worked with those as accurate, overlapping, useful plays. If I can't figure something out mentally, I can always kick it up to the spiritual level. And that's really a beautiful awareness to know that. Because frequently I can't figure things out. I'm pretty good with my checkbook, and I know what to buy at H-E-B, and I can do those things pretty good. But this thing we call life, that's kind of different. It doesn't yield to my left brain, my logic and my analysis. It's something else is going on, and she called that spirit interacting, so we could see it, so we could acknowledge it. And in First Nations, the way they teach is like they never point. Like, sister, we'd be somewhere doing ceremony or something, and there's something she'd want me to see. And she'd, over there. So it's like the chin. That's considered rude. Like we call the spirit of something when we point at it. So be real careful what you want to do that with. Because words and motions have magic. Words have magic. So we're going to talk a little bit about that magic and its overlapping with spirit. Because sisters told me that I could use some improvement in this area, that to make things more clear. So a lady came to the office, to our clinic, and she'd not been drinking for a while. And she said things were much better when she wasn't drinking. She's a single mom. And just financially they were better. And she said that she's been studying this medicine about a year, and she says she just quit. Nobody told her to quit. And she said the other night some people came by with a six-pack of really good beer. She lives in Austin. And apparently they have really good beer in Austin. I don't know what that's about. And so anyway, she said to the people, I'm not drinking anymore. And she heard a voice in her mind. She even thought it was her that said, I'm going to do it anyway. And she did. And the next day she felt terrible and she had a headache. And the voice in her mind told her she was a bad mommy. A lot of suffering, physically, emotionally, and mentally. All three dimensions. So clearly it was a spiritual issue, right? If it affects the emotional, the mental, and the physical, besides holistic medicine, it's spiritual because it covers three of the four dimensions. So we saw this as a spiritual issue. She has a voice in her mind that said to her, I'm going to do it anyway, knowing what kind of suffering that was going to create. So the image sort of was taking my own handgun that I bought the bullets for and pointing it at my foot and saying, this is going to hurt, and I'm going to do it anyway. Boom. And then I walk with a limp. So she wanted to tell me this story, like if she's sitting here. She wanted to tell me this story about part of her really likes how she feels not drinking. She really likes it physically, emotionally, and mentally. She really likes it. She feels strong. There had been trouble in her family with alcohol, and she just kind of was letting it go. And it wasn't like she was dying for it. She kind of let it go. And then there's this other part of her, let's say that's over here, that said, I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to do it anyway. Boom. Going to hurt, and I'm going to do it anyway. And I'm listening carefully because I can relate to this. I don't know if any of y'all can relate to this. Like, I probably shouldn't be eating these cookies at 11 o'clock at night, but I'm going to do it anyway. And I know what happens when I curse people. I know what happens when I judge. I know that my serotonin goes down and my blood pressure goes up. That's like the holistic medicine part. I know that when I judge people, it changes my brainwave from alpha, if I'm pretty cool, into beta, up and down, like that. On an EKG, it looks like that, EEG. Beta, up and down, peaks and valleys, like that in the body. Okay, so it's important that we pay attention to these things. So there's this lady over here, and she's been to other counselors before, and you all know that I don't do that anymore. I just share the medicine. And she wants to tell me about this other part. She wants to tell me, you want to tell me about this part of you that shot you in the foot. Tell you what, how about if you talk to it? How about if you consider this your spiritual work? To look at that part of you. How about if that's all of our spiritual work? How about if that's the whole show right there? How about if that little act is so important that it covers many, many levels of awareness? Physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. You know, in some medicine, and the medicine we do in our clinic that Sister says to share with the people, help the people, this part right here, we call our shadow side. If you read any Eckhart Tolle, he calls it an ego. And in the second book, A New Earth, in chapter 5, he stopped calling it an ego, and he started calling it an entity. Don Miguel Ruiz wrote the 4 Agreements and the 5th Agreement, a lot of really beautiful stuff. Stuff about relationships. Anyway, he calls that thing a parasite. In our office, we call it our shadow side. Now for Sister, when we talk about this years ago, she would say, well, for an Indian, up on the res where I grew up, and you remember she only went to 4th grade, she said, the people will call that a demon. And I said, well, Sister, we're in South Texas. I mean, you can't really. People freak out. You just can't do that. She said, well, listen to me, little brother. If it's invisible, if nobody could see it, and it only tortures 2-leggeds, it doesn't bother 4-leggeds. Invisible, and it tortures 2-leggeds. No other nation. The mineral people, they're not bothered by that. The 4-leggeds, they're not bothered by that. She said, brother, pay attention. Children up to about 18 months old are not bothered by that. She said, that doesn't come with the birth of the child. That's not the child. The child suffers from that when they begin to listen to that. So, one of the mistakes, now this is Sister, she says one of the mistakes that psychology and counseling make is they say that you have to make this go away or make this shut up. In the medicine, in this spirit walk, the Good Red Road, the people say, that has power. If I say I'm not going to drink, and somebody puts a beer in front of me, and all of a sudden, I'm over here. Yeah, I'm drinking. I go from A to B. And I don't know how that happens. It might be worthwhile looking at that. How does that happen? So this is how that happens. So this part over here, in this medicine, we do a thing called stalking. And I know that word has all kind of connotations now. That's very clear. But 500 years ago, stalking was a very high spiritual endeavor. People that cared about their world and their circle and their other relatives stalked themselves continuously from the moment they woke until the moment they went to sleep and even in their dreams. Looking for this. Not to try to kill this or make this go away. Some people say, well, just meditate, that'll help. Well, you know, for somebody like me, that could take 40 years. I don't have that much time. I want to pay attention to this. If this can change me, if I can change my direction because you say so, I'm interested in you. You have power. So in this medicine from the First Nations people, this is the gift of spirit that I don't acknowledge until it bites me in the butt. How's that for a spiritual paradox? I don't pay any attention to this until it bites me in the butt. So in the clinic that we run, Dr. Shane and I, we see this when people say, I can't sleep at night. Well, how come you can't sleep at night? What's going on? Tell me what's going on. I'm thinking all the time. Pleasant, loving thoughts? No, it's not that at all. Well, who's doing all that thinking? Well, I don't know. Well, we might want to look at that. What part of you keeps you awake at night? When you know you do better when you sleep. You like it when you sleep. So here's you over here. You want to sleep, and somebody over here keeps you awake. Who is that? That's the same one. We call it our shadow side in this medicine. Now, the point of this little bitty talk today is to understand that some people say, well, calm your mind or take some drugs or smoke a number, whatever you need to do, you can quiet this down. This medicine said that's not the way. This is a gift of spirit. It takes manure to grow roses. You have to fall off the bike to learn to ride. I had to have my heart broken to understand about respecting women. I had a lot of training like this. Humility training puts everything right here. The two wings of the bird are equal. So instead of this lady talking to me about why this here and what it means and where it came from, we know where it came from. She wasn't born with this. She didn't have it till she was 18 months old. So our spiritual work is to face the side of ourselves. I'm going to keep an eye on you. So the other part of the game is I can look for this part of me that sabotages me. Y'all know that word, sabotage? It's a cool word. Almost everybody knows it. A four-legged, okay, far out. One of the wolf people. That's a good omen. Thank you. Right. I agree. The other part of the game here is if I can find this, if I'm the lady and I can say, hey, Hoka, hey, there is a part of me that drinks anyway. Part of me that wants to drink. Part of me that's willing to shoot me in the foot. Who is that? So part of this medicine is to look for you and tell the truth. You know, if I'm busy looking for this part of me, then I don't have anything to say to y'all about how you behave. This keeps me really busy, right? Somebody pulled in front of me on the freeway and yeah, here we are. Hello again. Yeah, this is the one that judges. This is the one that calls people names. This is the dark side of my nature. And the people say this has such a gift, such a gift. Because like in the office, if somebody's over here fighting with this part of them that keeps eating the cookies even though they know better, instead of fighting with you, we want to learn about you. So an interesting thing, this lady decided with a little bit of coaching to get over on this side. And you know, this side feels real different than that side. You feel like a victim. Poor you, you can't quit eating cookies. Poor baby. A leaf at the mercy of the wind. We put a cookie in front of you and you change. We put a beer in front of you and you're different. I can change your energy with a cookie or a beer. Who's in charge of your life, you or me? And you don't know very much about me. But I keep biting you in the butt. Maybe someday you'll pay attention to me. So over here, I feel good. I feel strong. I feel grounded. My emotions are neutral. My mind is really clear and very quiet. Over here, I have all the energy to change your direction, and you don't know much about me. You can say you're not going to drink, and I can say, I'm going to do it anyway. Pay attention. I've been running a good part of your life for a long time. I can keep you awake at night. I can make you afraid of what's going to happen tomorrow. And it never happens. I have power. I'm a gift of Creator. I'm here for you. But not if you curse me or try to make me go away. This feels good. This is taking the energy of that. It's like a physical soul retrieval where I take back what belongs to me. And then this no longer is a war with me. There's no longer two. There's only one. So I don't say things like, I judge myself. Who is the I that's judging me? Well, that would be that one. It might be good to notice how much power is there. It's an interesting thing when we do this in the clinic with people. When the person is in this role, the poor me, I can't help it, I ate the cookies. Poor me, I want to stop drinking, but there's some part of me that makes me drink. In this role, we know medically that serotonin goes down. When I feel like a victim, a leaf at the mercy of the wind, when my partner referred a man to me who had high blood pressure, and he never had high blood pressure at work and he didn't have high blood pressure with his wife, but when he watched the evening news, his blood pressure went way up. And he said, our president makes me uptight. I said, really? He's 1,500 miles away. He don't know you're alive. So guess what? He does not make your blood pressure go up. That's something you're doing, and you might want to learn about that if you don't want to die of a stroke. Because my partner, the doctor, can't give you enough medicine to control your blood pressure. There's something else going on here. So that's that. That's the part of him that judges, that curses, that blames. Have you ever asked yourself, why are you angry? Why am I angry? I'm just angry. Well, and this medicine said there's a real simple answer. Judgmental thoughts create anger. Duh. Self-judgment creates guilt and shame. I'm sure you all are aware, I'm absolutely certain you all are aware that when a child is born, up to about 18 months of age, this emotion that we call guilt, that some of us are so troubled by, doesn't even exist. It's not in that little person. Somebody has to teach them something in order to create the emotion of guilt. So if you pay attention to that, then the old people like Sister paid attention to that, what have we taught that child? We've taught that child self-judgment, which creates the emotion of guilt. So you can go to a psychologist, you could talk about guilt for years. Why am I guilty? What does it mean? How do I get rid of it? Or we can talk about the part of us, we can talk to the part of us that judges us and creates the guilt. I hope this is clear. Sister says to me, make this clear. If you can make this clear, maybe you can understand it. So you got how that works? You teach what you need to know. It keeps everything in perspective. So exploring this stuff with this lady, beginning to see how much power was over there and the fact that she could come from here to over here. She could own the power. And you know, a weird thing that happens when she moves into this role, when I move into this role, when anybody moves into this role and begins to own this energy physically, emotionally, and mentally, the judgment stops. Boom. When the person begins to own this energy, they are calm, peaceful, their heart is open. There's no judgment at all. Isn't it, to me, it's an incredible spiritual paradox that a way to find peace and centeredness is to use the judge, the voice in my mind. To not try to drug it or make it go away or make it be quiet, but to use it. That voice has energy and power. If it can create the emotion of guilt in me, that's very powerful. About 25 years ago, I said I was going to quit smoking, And one day I went to a store, it used to be Super S, and bought a carton of Winston's for $20. That's how long ago that was. So anyway, I had this carton of Winston. I go out to my truck and I said, today's the day I said I'm going to quit smoking. Doggone. So, yeah, once you bought them, you got to smoke them, right? I mean, next week we'll quit. Yeah, that's sort of like that bottle of scotch when I quit drinking. Ah, man, nobody wants it. It's only a half a bottle. I can't. Oh, man, what am I going to do with that? Well, I figured it out. Yeah, started something later. So anyway, what I said to the lady I'm married with is, she said, I thought you had quit smoking. You know what? This is what I said. This is good for my ego to admit this. I said, I found myself in Super S buying cigarettes. Like, there I was. Hey, you quit smoking, remember? But then there's Hal over here with the cigarettes under his arm. Said, God, man, I want a cigarette. It's been a while, you know. Oh, I quit smoking. I quit smoking. Holy cow. I quit smoking. So you got those two halves. One part says, smoking's killing me. I'm not going to smoke anymore. I've had it with smoking. I spent a lot of money with it. I ain't doing it no more. Then there's this other part that says, I'm going to do it anyway. That's the same part that keeps me awake at night when I want to sleep. That's the same part that judges me for stuff that's 30 and 40 and 50 years old. In my case, there's some stuff I did maybe 60 years ago that I'm recapitulating. I'm taking back the energy from. So, part of the medicine to share with you is, I don't think I've ever been clear enough that in the First Nations medicine, this starts off as a problem, an enemy. Enemy way uses our enemy as our teacher. Energetically, this has power. So that people respect anything with power. So in the medicine, when we do the medicine, we give this energy a share. We're respectful. We honor this. If you can keep me awake at night when I want to sleep, you have power. And as a warrior, spiritual warrior, to working on the development of my spirit, I'm interested in you. If you can keep me awake at night, if you can keep me drinking when I say I don't want to drink, if you can have me do this stuff to somebody who pulls in front of me, like I'm asleep all of a sudden. Like what? All of a sudden I'm flipping somebody off? Like wake up. You're the one who can put me asleep. I forget who I am. I'm interested in you. Don Miguel Ruiz says, inside of all of us is a dark magician. And if we don't recognize that dark magician, it does all kind of magic with us. We wonder how things happened. Here it is. We're selling chairs like that today as a special. You can buy this chair. You could take it home with you. Oh my God, not this one. Hoka. So one of the things we do in the medicine is we don't get too morbid about this, even though the way my life goes depends on this. How's that for a paradox? To not get morbid and somber about this. To pay attention to this could be fun to stalk you. You have power. I'm interested in power. And I'm interested in the peace that you have. And I'm interested that when I'm in that form, my serotonin goes up. It doesn't go down. Matter of fact, it's healthier for me to re-own that power. Physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. It's healthy for me to re-own that power. To drain the voice of judgment. To turn the enemy into an ally. It's a gift of spirit. So Sister says, to tell you about this and to do a better job than I've done before. To be relentless and impeccable, the two attributes of a warrior. So thank you all. It's good to be able to share the medicine. Like Sister, I like to come here. This is good. Circle is good. So thank you all for helping me connect to spirit. Thank you all magicians over here for helping me connect to spirit. Okay.